Now, unfortunately, Blue Black alerted me on the way up here that it would like me to spend more money on it, because around 3,000 RPM I was hearing a dry bearing rubbing sound coming from the front of the engine. Now, it's definitely not my fan bearing bracket again, because that is a NOS genuine MB one that's fitted on there, and we've had a look on that and the pulley is not rubbing on the crank pulley, so it hasn't worked its way out of the housing and slid backwards. What I think might be going on is either the alternator is starting to have some lifelong regrets about existing and wanting to move on to the next world. Alternatively, it could also be my air pump that is failing. Now, that pulley bearing is not designed to be changed. It is staked into a pressed steel pulley. I don't think I would have the skills and patience to change that without destroying the pulley itself, but who knows. I do have a spare pump to play with, so maybe I can have a go at that. As for the difference with how the cars drive, my personal opinion is the M104 3-litre 24 valve, it's definitely for those that like to drive their cars hard. It definitely pulls a lot harder when you give it stick and you're up high in the rev range. The M103, in contrast, is a more luxurious experience. It's a lot quieter. You basically don't even hear it unless you're giving it stick, and it does not pull as hard. People may disagree with that. Obviously, it depends on the national version. The Australian version M103 is somewhat detuned because it was designed to run on 91 octane fuel. So from the factory, it does have the 220 ohm resistor trimmer plug for the EZL. And I can show you later that they even placed a sticker in the user's manual in the area where it talks about the appropriate fuel to use. Obviously, the Euro version manual that I have, or we have in Australia, from the printing press does say 95 octane fuel is recommended, but the Australia version car that it is has a little sticker applied over that saying that it's acceptable to use 91. And I know from my friend that has the 300 TE wagon, he has played with the resistor trimmer plugs to try and get the most out of higher octane fuel. He always runs 98 octane. He did put the 750 ohm resistor to enable best performance for 95 octane fuel, and he claims that he had constant pinging issues above 4,000 RPM. Now, that may be because his engine has 200,000 Ks on the clock and it was starting to lean out. The 300E, the blue one that we've just purchased, obviously that engine's pretty tight. I don't see us having to play with anything like that. It starts and runs damn well. Just needs some basic maintenance. I know the ignition system doesn't work too well at the moment. We will address that, and yes, we will see what that really performs like. So anyway, I'm just going to sit back, relax, and enjoy a nice, comfortable drive in my 124. Something I don't get to experience from the passenger seat very often, but I do get to today. So when you see me next, we will be looking at the blue 124. I think we'll probably even put it up on the hoist and have a good look underneath it as well. And of course, I will take you along for the ride. So young Tim here, man of many words, he just gave an honest opinion of driving my 124. What did you just say?
It's pretty impressive. Yeah, I just noticed the suspension's a lot tighter than the blue one.
Yes, as mentioned, his has the factory original oil-filled struts, and these are Bilstein ones, which are gas-charged. I believe these are just the touring ones. They're not even the fancy ones, but nonetheless, they're a lot firmer than the original struts. It's not such a luxurious drive as the originals. It's a lot firmer, kind of like you're driving around a Honda, but in a good way, a German Honda. Isn't that right?
Definitely, yeah.
So back on the 103, we're just going to do a quick health check on it before he drives away with it today. First thing I want to do is see if this distributor has ever been changed. I suspect it's original. I just want to see the condition of it and also the plugs. I mean, it's all going to get replaced anyway. Just want to make sure it's okay for the drive home. And I don't think this air filter has been changed in a while. We'll have a look at that too. Nothing major. So some more maintenance items have been discovered here. The throttle linkages are all gummed up, like they have not been cleaned or lubricated in a long time. The fuel cutoff switch is not even activating when the throttle is completely left off unless you push it. That is not correct. That switch should be clicking when it's let go of, whereas this doesn't unless you push it closed, because it just doesn't move freely, or it's not adjusted properly. It's very stiff as well and squeaky. So that's something else that needs attention. Nothing exciting. The EHO valve looks a bit sweaty, so that's expensive. Hopefully he's got a spare one. If not, I might. Yes, we should just persist on looking for urgent matters of maintenance. The rotor definitely has some mileage on it. It's not too bad. It is all genuine MB. That's from the dealership servicing, obviously. Cap itself, also genuine MB. It has been changed at some stage, so it's not original. There is some wear to it, but it's not the end of the world. That's definitely usable the way that is. We'll give it a clean though anyway. So this is my cleaning efforts on the 103 rotor. Already a million times better in my opinion. We'll see how that runs after that. It should be considerably better. Air filter is pretty clean. Did have a reasonable amount of sand in there, but it is a good brand, Hengst. At least it's not some unknown thing in there, and it has been changed, which is a good thing. So some maintenance has definitely occurred on this car. When the cooling system is flushed, which I've advised him to do, I've also advised to get the seal kit and resealed the duo valve while it's out. They're notorious for getting gummed up with filth and not working properly. This one is working, but preemptively it's a good idea to put a good seal kit in there, because some stage that will fail and no doubt destroy the coils, and then things get even more expensive. So it's, I think, better to just do it now rather than wait for it to fail. I'm just going through the spark plugs now. So far I'm liking what I'm seeing. Absolutely no oiliness whatsoever on the spark plug or inside the cylinder itself. These have been changed, unfortunately, to the resistor type. I don't think Bosch makes non-resistor plugs anymore, so we will probably change over to NGK, because I know they do still make non-resistor plugs. So that's going to get replaced as part of the ignition system overhaul anyway. We're just refitting that cap after cleaning its contacts and me cleaning the rotor. I'm just going through the plugs one at a time, checking them out, and we'll take it for a drive after that. Bit of an update here, bit of a clean, bit of a lube and adjustment, and now this is working as intended. That's how it's supposed to be. Closing the switch once you let go. Cost zero.
Superficially it looks alright.
Bit oily under here, but nothing that's not expected. Someone spent money on this car. Genuine MB steering shock absorber with a hologram on it, so it's not that old. What will be interesting is removing this engine cover and just seeing how much oil is leaking, because yeah, it's a bit wet. That steering box is probably leaking as well, because we've noticed that the steering fluid is rather low. Not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, yes, there is general oiliness in the area, but that's to be expected. All of the ball joints look good, so there's no immediate dangers on him driving this home. Just needs a lot of cleaning down here. And yes, the steering box does need to be resealed, but hey, whose steering box doesn't? Well, other than Red's, because that's perfect now. So this is the rear end of the W124 project, and it even has a genuine MB rear muffler. And for those curious, it is brand Gillette. Oh yes, number 6th month 1990, so that must be the original exhaust. So that has never been changed. Unless it's obviously been on the shelf a very long time. So I kind of thought they had a clamp-on finish of connection at that centre muffler there, but this is welded. Did M103s come like this? I don't know. Speaking of mufflers, this thing sounds like it's got a massive rust hole in one of the mufflers, but it doesn't. This rear muffler is probably rusted out internally, because when you block it, this ridiculous noise of a rusty muffler stops. And it is building up pressure, and there's obviously no whistling noise from a hole further up the system. Still have the original wax leaking out of the bottoms of the doors, all 4 of them. No rust whatsoever, although that's not really such an issue in Australia. As mentioned, these crusty and crumbly old rubber mats have done a good job of protecting the carpet. It's absolutely like new under there. But this whole interior needs to be cleaned out. These seat rails have actually seized up. So the seats need to come out, the rails removed and cleaned and serviced and lubed, and yeah, they'll move perfect again. Someone's had a go at re-sticking this on, done a bit of a crap job, but I'm sure that can be taken care of. And as usual, the B-pillar trims are peeling, but we can get that done. I think in Perth it's about $160 to have both done, and then they come up absolutely perfect, like brand new. It's good to have the car up at this height because you can just walk around and have a look at all of the issues with the body. Not that there's many. We have noticed that there is a dent here, obviously from something in the rear banging around. Note this curved section here and the curved profile at the edge. Clearly this car has had a scrape at some time because this is now sharp on this side. So it's had body filler applied here. Probably the oldies that were driving this around reversed into something. I can forgive them. Yeah, there's some clear coat issues starting on the cladding, but yeah, sometime in the future that will get painted. Tim's just enjoying looking at everything that he normally can't, because he's unfortunately without a hoist.
Including what appears to be tyre rubbing on there at some point.
Could that have been some spirited driving? It's definitely not with these crappy tyres because there's no tread left on them. I don't think it could compress enough. Mind you, I had similar to that on my red cars. Maybe it had big wheels on it or something at some stage. Or maybe that's just par for the course. I don't know. I don't have that issue on my blue-black car.
Please.
And yes, that's the crappy alarm system that speaks to you all the time. So mystery solved with the tyre rubbing. This was the same story with red. In Australia, 205/65 R15 is standard fitment to our domestic rubbish that was used for taxis in the 90s, and they're subsequently extremely cheap. If you wanted the correct 205 width and maintain the correct height, you actually have to get 205/60 R15, and they're about twice the price. That's what I've put on my blue black car, and I don't have any rubbing issues at all. So these tyres are actually too high. For those unaware, the factory tyre spec was 195 width. I can't remember the height, but yeah, this is way too high, and that is the result. Right, so at the moment, we can't do a fair comparison between old Bluey here and blue black, i.e. an M103 to M104 comparison, because old Bluey here has a bit of hesitation at takeoff. Old Bluey needs some love, and that's what she's going to get, but not right now. Yeah, so we're just going to go and buy something to eat and enjoy the drive. One thing you can say about the M103 versus the M104, it's so damn quiet, you don't even hear the engine running. I will say that the M103 is more luxury orientated versus performance. The M104, it pulls harder. Mine just pulls hard all the time because of the way I've adjusted it, and it really pulls hard the higher the RPMs go. But that's not how this M103 should be driven, in my opinion. This is a nice old lady that needs to be treated with respect. The M104, it was designed to be driven hard, because that's how it performs best, when you drive it hard, and it sounds good too. But yeah, this is just a stately vehicle that you drive around in a relaxing manner. And my friend here, that's how he drives, like a senior citizen, so this is the perfect vehicle for him. I'm not saying you can't get good performance from an M103. I know you can fit turbochargers and turn it into an absolute animal, but this nice original example is going to stay that way. It's not going to get performance stuff done to it. It just it runs nice and quiet, and once it's had some maintenance, I'm sure it will drive perfectly too. It's just so quiet, unbelievably quiet. Gotta love it. Gotta love 124s. And hopefully this is the start of another 124 drug addiction that I have started here. Hopefully this will be one of many, many 124s that he will own. Hopefully he can kick the M100 habit and move to 124s like I did, because believe it or not, I was an M100 owner before I moved on to 124s. I didn't even want mine. It just appeared. It was offered to me for cheap. I thought, what the hell? I'll play with it and see how it goes. And here I am, all of these years later, absolutely not interested in M100s at all anymore, and completely obsessed with 124s. And I think that's the way it should be. Oh look, I still have respect for M100s. They're just a pain in the butt as far as getting parts for them, and everything costs a fortune. And they're just not practical to drive anymore, especially when you can't get basic parts anymore, like suspension spheres. Well, they're difficult to get in Australia because of being dangerous goods, and the struts, you've got to get them rebuilt because MB threw away all of the tooling to build them new, and the valves you've not been able to get new for years. I did have new old stock stuff, but I sold it all when I sold the car, and I got a very pretty penny for it. Yeah, but I'll never own an M100 again. I don't think I'll ever own anything older than the 90s, personally. I think this is the cream of the crop here, and it only went downhill, in my opinion, after the 124. Some will disagree, obviously. 211 is a reasonable car, but I'm never going to own one. I don't like them that much. 212 is probably the successor to the 124, in my opinion. But there's a number of those that have rubbishy, unreliable engines that just don't last as long as they did in the old days. So I don't know what I'm going to do after MBs. Not after 124s. I don't know. The future is a mystery. Maybe a third 124. Maybe that's the secret. I need a convertible. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll see you soon.